Not the Sports News is Romy Titus and her guests covering the world of sport from football to athletics, cricket, rugby, UFC, and Dambe wrestling. Live weekdays on omniaudio.africa, 8:30 a.m. Central African Time. Romy Titus is South Africa's leading face and voice on all the sports stories you want to hear about and talk about. Also live on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at Omni Audio Africa.
Not the Sports News, a Monday edition. Hello. What a weekend it's been. I didn't foresee any of the results going down the way they did in the Betway Prem. I obviously have been waxing lyrical about a pre-season. From the little that I know, I always say it's my unqualified opinion, right? From the little that I know is that you're supposed to have like a stellar pre-season so that when you go into the season that is now in full swing, we as the couch coaches, the fans, we have this new sort of eagle's eye type vision into the game, into the teams, who have they signed, and pretty much how things are going to go down. And then this weekend, I take a step back and I'm just like, I literally tried to catch all the action, which is virtually impossible. And so some you catch up a little later, the highlights you catch. But then a Chippa United and a Mamelodi Sundowns, not in my wildest dreams did I think would end in a draw, not the opener as well. Because isn't that kind of where you want to stamp your authority? Like, look, we've arrived, you know. I did say, like, you want to walk out there with, like, this swag, this brag, this look at us, you know. We're the untouchables, 8-time league winners. And so I guess it's what I expected. I expected nothing less than a win, and maybe by 2-0, even 3 even. But then it also poses a problem. Are they missing the players that we don't see on the pitch? Players, you know, take your pick, whether it's singular or plural. Then I see Lele and the Golden Arrows. I don't know, guys. I didn't foresee that either. Like, if I had to be betting this past weekend, I would have lost so much money. Not that I bet, but if I were to. Durban City? And I was just like, you know what, the newbies on the block in terms of an Orbit College in a Durban City, what are they going to do? And then they come out and they beat Tears Galaxy by 2-0. Pirates. I don't even know if we should be talking about that. Because, or Chiefs even. Hi, guys, how could I leave out Kaizer Chiefs that beat Stellenbosch by 2-0? Because I've been talking about a dismal season. I've been talking about maybe not quite the coach that could fit. I've been talking about the season that was going into the season and possibly if this coach would be, maybe if things don't go their way, the first one that we see leave, you know, a club. And I think I chatted to Brad Jakes about that, and we were waxing lyrical about that too, in terms of, look, it could possibly be. And then they go ahead and they beat Stellies. I did not see this. For me, it was always going to be a Stellies beating a Kaizer Chiefs. But then again, it's the first game of the season, and so perhaps for me and my unqualified opinion, so much was expected. An Orlando Pirates going down to Skokune United. This I also didn't see. I honestly gave an outright win to Pirates just based on their trajectory again and how great and how smooth things have been going there, and the preseason that they had. So all of that and more right here on Not the Sports News. If it is that you want an in on the conversation, it is so simple. All you have to do is follow us Facebook. It's Omni Audio. All the other handles, that's YouTube, Insta, TikTok. It's Omni Audio Africa. And a little later, we will be chatting to Daniel Hirsch as well. Crystal Palace up against Liverpool. We are talking about the Charity Shield, and obviously Crystal Palace beating Liverpool by 2-2, and then on penalties there eventually. So Daniel Hirsch comes in and shares his insights there. I think very difficult also for a Liverpool, just going back and thinking of Diogo Jota as well and how they came out at the end of the day. But it's all, you know, praise. Fans are happy, and that also a precursor to the start of the English Football League season starting this weekend. Without further ado, Brad Jakes is on the line. Brad Jakes, always good chatting to you. Were you blown away as much as I was this past weekend, because I didn't get any of my guesses correct in terms of who is going to beat who in the start of the PSL?
Good morning, Romy. No, so what I don't do is make bets on football results because it's yeah, no, it's a very funny old game. This you yeah, very surprising results. A lot of them I also would not have forecasted. I
Mm,
think for me, the big result really has to be Sekhukhune United beating Orlando Pirates.
yeah.
Not because I didn't think Sekhukhune have it in them to beat Pirates. I think I watched Sekhukhune play against TS Galaxy in the MTN 8, and I was very impressed by the kind of character they showed to come back from 2-0 down to win 3-2. But, as much as I thought they had a chance, I mean, you go to an Orlando stadium where Pirates are always backed by a full capacity crowd. We saw them beat Polokwane City last weekend.
Mm.
Yeah, I didn't think a draw at least, but I think the most of us would have expected Pirates to win that match. And for Sekhukhune to pull that off, I mean, talks to the fact that they are a team that we have to watch. Eric Tinkler said it, that his mandate is to take the team into Africa.
Okay.
And that means finishing in the top three, and they want to do that. And with that kind of start, I think it shows that they really do mean business.
But it is a start. And I guess in anything, Brajakes, I mean, you're a runner. You know that it's how you start, right? It's how you start that sort of sends a message as to how the season is going to go, which might not always be the case here. But for a Pirates with a new coach, with a great preseason, I guess today the question is, where did it go wrong? Is it too much too soon in terms of the new coach now trying to stamp his authority and the way he wants to play versus using what was there and then slowly changing as the season goes? Because to lose in the opener, I'm sure Pirates fans today cannot be happy.
Yeah, look, I don't know. I wouldn't say he's changing too much too soon. They had a very engaged preseason where he saw everybody. And for me, he picked the team that he believed is the team that will do the job for him on the day. And it's not as if Pirates were not in the match. Pirates played pretty well. They had their chances. The chances did not happen. And that's football. Sometimes you get the rub of the green. When you look at that goal, the way it came, Sipho Chaine pulls off a very good save. But of course, he wasn't too quick to move back to the other side when the attack happened. But I think that was just, defensively, Pirates were not good in that moment because they should have just cleared the ball away. They didn't, and eventually, what's his name, Sekhukhune score. But look, I think it's very early. I think what I like about the way the season has started, I think it says to us we are not going to have that kind of a season where a Mamelodi Sundowns, for example, goes the first 15 matches winning all of them. They dropped points, and that talks to we could have a competitive league where not one team runs away with it. So, yes, you look at Pirates. Pirates, I think, have the strongest squad. I mean, compared to Sundowns, really, Sundowns always have the strongest squad. But Pirates made probably the best signings of everybody. And yes, a defeat like the one they had match day one at home, packed capacity, it's a result that will leave a few people having doubts. But I think it's way too early. I still believe they will turn that around, and we are going to have a very competitive Pirate.
Look, it is nice to have a competitive league and not just someone running away with it at the end of the day. I think that makes for far more exciting football, better stories that we tell as well, as opposed to an outright winner. Talking about outright winners, in terms of Mamelodi Sundowns, 8 times in a row league winners now. I did expect a little more from them, but then I also take a look at the bench and who is in the park and who isn't. And I guess maybe perhaps that is why a Chipper United managed to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, look, with Sundowns, Chipper is always tricky. But I think, as you say, just about everyone would have picked on Sundowns winning that match. I mean, I had their coach Cardoso lamenting the fact that the goal was a deflection. They looked to have it covered, the goal they conceded. But that's football. You are not going to take that away from Chip and say, they were lucky it was a deflection. The fact that they managed to be attacking and created that chance from that deflection, they all count. And I think what Chiba has done is then give the rest of the Premiership clubs some hope that these Sundowns are not invincible. Yes, they remain the favourites to win a 9th successive title. The fact that they might not have a Ribeiro yet again this season, he might leave. Odiso Mdau is said to be unhappy. So there's some rumblings at Mamelodi Sundowns, and I think if anything, the rest of the PSL clubs should capitalize on that now, get some points from Sundowns before they settle down and then be the runaway train we know them to be.
Do you know the latest in terms of a Mudau and a Ribeiro, and if it is that they're definitely leaving Brad Jakes?
But what did you ask, Romy? I didn't hear that.
A Mudau and a Ribeiro. I mean, any news hot off the press there in terms of them not returning?
No, the club themselves have not said anything. But I think Ribeiro, there's been talk that he might go to Saudi Arabia. I think if he gets the offer, he should go. What I'm hearing, though, is this whole, Sundowns tend to hold on to players. They probably going to call some big numbers, probably to scare away the potential buyers. But I would say they shouldn't. They are a big club. They made lots of money out of the Club World Cup. Let these boys go. They've shown themselves here at home. Let them go, sign new players if you have to. But look, they still have contracts. If they still have contracts, it's up to the club to decide. But I always find I don't like it when clubs hold on to players who are no longer interested. I have heard that Mudau just wants out. Ribeiro, I think it's more a case of a lot of clubs having seen what he did last season and feeling that he could be a good addition to their squads. And I mean, why would you stop anybody from going to play in Saudi Arabia? Let them go make money, because football is a short career. Let these boys make money while their talent still allows them to. So I would say Sundowns should let them go. But hey, I don't work there. They have their contracts and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we will. I agree with you. If it is a player wants to go, spread their wings and go elsewhere, why not? And as you said, Sundowns have the money. I'm sure they're able to buy, if they so wish, another Lucas Ribeiro Costa if they so wanted to. Brad Jakes, for me, this scoreline puzzled me a little bit. Chiefs beating a Stellenbosch, because honestly, I thought it would be the other way around. What message, I think, does this send? And for me, it's more of fans appeased today in terms of a Kaizer Chiefs camp, because a lot has been left wanting, and for them to win this weekend, I don't know, it just kind of, makes everybody kind of settle in nicely, like, okay, there's nothing to worry about just yet.
Yeah. Look, I mean, if you follow Kaizer Chiefs, you'll know that they always beat Stellenbosch, no matter how bad they are doing. So if you're a Chiefs fan and you get overexcited about having won against Stellenbosch, I think you're getting too carried away too early. It's a result that, if you check historically, Chiefs always beat Stellis. The fact that, I mean, I watched the match. Stellis actually played very well after going a man down, conceding a goal. They hit the crossbar, they hit the post. They did very well. Chiefs played okay. Lodi Lilepo was impressive. It's early, hey? I think the one thing that it does is gives Chiefs fans hope.
Yeah, that's for
that
sure.
We can be competitive. I mean, Chiefs, I think, match day one, I think they're number 3 on the table. That's something that should excite. That's something to build on. But if you are a Chiefs fan and we always beat Stellis, what would be very important is what they do on Wednesday. Chiefs are playing a Polokwane City team that tends to give them problems. If they beat Polokwane City, then there's, again, much more better reason to say we are looking good. But they played impressively. The Nkosi Ngiphile Ncobo Mshini played well. Like I say, I loved the way Lodi Lilepo ran on the wing there. So look, based on what happened last season, in the previous season. I think for Kaizer Chiefs, things can only get better. They have to finish better than 10th place, and I think they will. They are going into the continent. I think that's going to be the biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Even the first round match that they are going to play against a team from Angola, it's a tricky one. Get over that as early as they do now in September, and then suddenly the belief will be there. They didn't have their coach, and I had Ben Khalil, who was standing in, speaking about how they were inspired and wanted to, do this one for the coach who is back home in Tunisia with his wife who was in an accident. So they had motivation, a lot of motivation, away from the game itself. But it's always good when Kaizer Chiefs win. I mean, the stadium is packed. They are playing in Cape Town. They have the most fans in the stadium, and they win. It's a bit exciting. I think today is a good day to be a Chiefs fan. You are above Orlando Pirates, your bitter rivals who have lost. Mamelodi Sundowns did not get maximum points. So, yeah, I think if I was a Chiefs fan, I'll frame the today's league table just because it's going to change when the season continues.
Yeah. I mean, you are happy, as you said, early days, but hey, as South African football fans, we take anything that gives us like a little glimmer of hope and makes us feel really good. I mean, clubs that have to feel good about themselves is a Siwelele this morning, because 3-1 against Golden Arrows, and then also Durban City surprised me against the TS Galaxy, 2-0. So for me, it's no one should almost be underrated in the league this season, because for me, just going by the opener, anything is possible.
Yeah. Look, I think that's the thing. Hey, that's one of the things the PSL chairman, Evan Khoza, loves to say is we have created a brand where nothing can be taken for granted. Although, in a way, I might disagree in a bit that over the last 8 seasons, we've known that Sundowns are going to win the league. But this kind of results, just tell you, the league is competitive. Yeah, sometimes there are some clubs that just disappoint. But I think for me, the highlight of the weekend was the match in Bloemfontein. I mean, it's so beautiful to see Celtic or Siwelele fans back. Those people are the best crowd in the country, and watching that match, seeing them singing the way they were, I really liked that fact, because if you remember when the fixtures were released, Siwelele, the new team, said they are going to play their match. Essentially, they are remaining SuperSport United. They were going to play their match in Atteridgeville. And I remember telling somebody that if they do that, it would be the stupidest thing to do, because you're calling yourself Siwelele, you are saying you're trying to revive Bloemfontein Celtic. You couldn't get the real name, the proper name, and you want to play your match in Atteridgeville. So I was very happy that they took the match to Bloemfontein, and you saw how the crowd responded. And if I were them, I wouldn't even play any match in Atteridgeville. You play all your matches there, because that's who you want to associate with, and it's just beautiful. I mean, those fans are the best in the country, and yeah, it's. I watched that match and I got goosebumps. I wished I was there. That's what South African football needs.
It is, Bro Jakes. It's definitely what football needs, because as much as we're talking about, obviously, the eyes on screens this weekend by far surpasses probably all the other games. Okay, we'll throw a derby out of the equation. But for me, it's about the people, because who are the players playing for at the end of the day? Yes, we understand. We've got to go back to the table. We've got to take a look at points. But there's a fine line between, yes, fighting for your spot in the league, but then there's also the entertainment part, and then there's the broadcast part, and then you want bums in seats. That I almost feel like when we look at Siwelele, it is the perfect example, right? From the Bloemfontein Celtic days to today, you'll see that there's a hunger, there's a need, there's a want. We will go, we'll support. Take Bafana, who played there as well. It's a packed house, and
it is.
I almost want to say, isn't this the recipe? Isn't this the recipe? Because you're saying, go to Atteridgeville. Why? There's a Sundowns there already. And okay, yes, I understand the carbon copy in terms of Siwelele being SuperSport, and Tshwane or Pretoria being the home base and the home ground. But is this not the recipe to success? should a
It is.
team that for the people play in a particular area, they need to stamp their authority there in order to have this turnout? Because who are you playing for?
Yeah. Oh, that's very true. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's you have to, we see it the world over. Clubs are successful because they belong to a particular area. The people there, they align with the team. They feel they are part of the team, and that's why they will then go to the stadiums. Like as you say, I mean, we have this broadcasting that you can sit at home and watch 3 matches. So that's the easier choice. But if there's a club that's right next to your home that you have an affinity to, you're going to go. And what it then does, I mean, if you are a corporate and you watched that Siwelele match, you want to be associated with that. You want to be part of that because that's just beautiful. That's something that's sellable. Even the PSL, if they go out, think of it now. There's this whole multi-choice moving out, somebody buying multi-choice. The PSL need to convince the new owners that continue this partnership with us. Those are the things that they'll be able to say, look, we have this product that the people love. You're going to have stadiums packed to capacity, and Siwelele gives you that. One of the things that disappointed me this weekend was I went to the Polokwane Derby, Polokwane City and Magezi FC, and for some reason I even went to the stadium early because in my head I thought the stadium is going to be packed because it's the opening match of the season. It's 2 teams from the same city, township, but it wasn't. Look, the main stand was packed, but I thought it would be much bigger than that. The crowd did their best to create an atmosphere, but I felt the people of Polokwane did not go to the match in the numbers that I expected them to do. I think this is a challenge to these 2 clubs to say, we need to push and get our fans coming to our matches.
I think that there's got to be a responsibility. I don't know on who, Bridgix, but I mean, if you think about it, right, there's a buying and selling of clubs that I think they also need to take into consideration. Where is that club based, and is this club for the people, for a lack of a better sentence, for the people, right?
Yeah.
Because here we're seeing a Siwelele come out. They want it. Now, is it a culture? Is it maybe just that in the Free State, that is what the people are like? But if that's how they like and they're going to come out and it's a given, I mean, what's the dynamics then in Polokwane for a derby like Polokwane City and Magesi? I mean, I think that better needs to be done in order to tap into a market to discover what do the people want, and now give it to them so that they do come through to the stadia.
Yeah, look, I think it's just all about performances, really. And one of the things, I mean, Magezi FC play their matches at Seshowe Stadium, which is in a township. It's a small stadium, like Rocklands in Bloemfontein, the Petros Molemela Stadium. One of the easiest things is I know people can just walk to the stadium, whereas with the Peter Mugaba Stadium, it's in town. People have to get transport to go there. So sometimes that might be the reason the stadium is not as packed. But I still feel as clubs, you want to develop an affinity with a particular area. And I think Magezi are trying that with Seshowe Stadium, and they're playing Stellenbosch on Wednesday. I wonder how the stadium will be. Hopefully, there'll be a bigger crowd. The draw that they got, their fans were excited. The few that were at Polokwane, Peter Mugaba Stadium, and I know that for Magezi in particular, there's a village in Muleji. They've taken that over. Even the chief there is part of them. So they have this community that they've aligned themselves with, and they are guaranteed that kind of support. So let's see how it goes. But I think it's, as you say, our clubs need to just make a little more effort to make sure that people come to their matches, because I know, I've done interviews with quite a few football people who will tell you that gate takings do not really make money because you don't own the stadium, so you have to pay and all that. But the more you get, the better the less your costs are going to be, and eventually you might even break even or even make money out of attendances. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a very complicated business. This we watch it as fans sometimes, and we just make assumptions that, oh, why are these people not doing this? But once you get close and once you get an understanding of just what it takes to run a football club, you get to understand. I mean, just one of the reasons
Yeah.
why we have situations where clubs get sold, because it is a
It's
very
tough.
hard business.
It's tough.
Mm.
It definitely
Yeah.
is. Brojakes, yeah, we could chat about that for forever. And I mean, the gate takings, etc., etc.
Yeah, yeah.
It is way complicated as opposed to you and I just, saying more needs to be done. Even in that exercise, I think there has to be a spend of some sort for more to be done. I digress. Durban City, for me, also surprised us up against the Tears Galaxy this past weekend, because as the newbies, or the newbie in this case, I always say they've got to fight to survive, right? Especially the newbies in top flight football. For them, it's about a season of survival. But to come out and beat a Tears Galaxy, man, you more than want to survive, even though it is just the start of the season.
Yeah. Look, I with Durban City, I think the fact that they have a Gavin Hunt
Correct.
as their coach,
Correct.
they are always going to have a chance. Gavin Hunt, a lot of people criticize him for playing boring football, for being old-fashioned. I had Njabulo Ngid on my show last weekend when we looked ahead to the season, and he was saying now he thinks Durban City will get relegated because he feels, one, Gavin is way past it, and the players that they've signed, all of them are essentially rejects. He feels.
No. He said that?
Look, yeah, and he makes a good point that you look at all the players that they've signed, majority of them from Cape Town City, some from SuperSport United, clubs that flirted with relegation. Actually, Cape Town City are relegated. So if you are bringing in players who relegated clubs, who nearly relegated clubs, what do you expect to achieve from that? That's his view, and I get why he's saying that. But Gavin Hunt has a knack for getting the best out of players that you think are over, they are finished. Darren Kidd is going to play some incredible football. He seems old. People will feel he should not be playing. But Hashim Domingo didn't really do well. But I'm not necessarily surprised that they beat TS Galaxy. I think TS Galaxy are going to struggle. They lose a lot of players season in, season out, and they lose very key players.
Yeah.
And managed to survive with that, but it's not sustainable. And unless they get some people, I watched them against Polokwane City. I mean, they rushed into a 2-0 lead, and you're thinking they're going to win, but they collapsed, match 3-2. So for them losing at Durban, and they are playing against Sekhukhune again this week, I foresee them losing that one again, and then there's just going to be trouble. But they did say that there's some players who were waiting for work permits, and hopefully they'll have them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough. But yeah, I mean, say what you want. Gavin Hunt, with all the years of experience, he's got to know a thing or two. I mean, coming out season opener, 2-0 against the TS Galaxy. You're talking about retention and loss of players at a TS Galaxy. Brojakes, would you say the same thing for Stellies? If Stellies want to be these top contenders, and as well as they are doing, to retain the players that they have in order to be a force to be reckoned with, with the likes of like a Pirates and a Sundowns. Because for me, they also lose their players, and I'm just like, retain just so that you can win, and once you win, let them go.
Yeah, look, it's tough. I mean, we had an interview with Rob Bernardi the other week, and he was explaining that yes, they would love to keep some of these players, but they are in the process, in the business of developing players.
Correct.
And they feel if a Sundowns comes, why? It's what we said earlier on. Why would you stop a Ribeiro from going to Saudi Arabia? I think it's unless you're going to pay them that kind of money. But even if you do, we are all aspirant people. I mean, you and I journalist, you start at some local newspaper. Your ambition is to work for the national paper. Your ambition is to work
Correct.
for
Yeah.
a super sport, an SABC. So it's the same with these guys. As much as Stellies would want to be competitive, Stellies are not a Kaizer Chiefs, they are not a Mamelodi Sundowns, they are not an Orlando Pirates. And a player might even come from Stellenbosch, but he aspires to one day play at Mamelodi Sundowns. And you just don't you can't stay in their way. Stellies are competing very well. I mean, given the way they lose players sometimes mid-season, and still to be able to finish third and still be able to get to the semi-finals of a continental competition just talks to something that they are doing very well. And I think they should just keep at it. If they get to a stage where they can hold on to their superstars, good for them. But I don't think it's something that's going to happen now. And what I like about Stellies is that they're very realistic. They know that, you don't hear them saying we want to win the league. Not that they don't want to. They are very ambitious. But if we finish third, if we are competitive, get into a top 8 final or win a Carling knockout, that's good for us. We're making money, and then we sell more players, we make more money, and then we groom others. And that's football. Sometimes know who you are, stay in your lane, and do what works for you. So I think.
Well said, well said. Bro Jakes, as I say goodbye, what is it that you love? I mean, there's many leagues across the world. What is it that you love about local football?
It's home, hey. It's where we are. I think it's what I grew up with. I'm one of those who actually don't really watch much of other football outside South Africa. It's for me, I'm a journalist. It's my job. I love it. But I love the unpredictability of our football. Sometimes the craziness of it. You have all this club bosses, some of them who seem very crazy, who come into football because they have money, but they have no clue what football is. But it's this excitement that we've had this weekend where, like you said at the beginning, no one thought Orlando Pirates would lose, but Orlando Pirates lost. And that's not exciting because you are not a Pirates fan, but exciting because it says anything is possible. The matches are so unpredictable that you don't even. I'm not a betting person, so I don't go there. But
neither
for betting people, it's even so exciting. Kaizer Chiefs winning a match. I mean, Mamelodi. I think the Sundowns thing as well. Badela, the Chippa United coach, is a guy who grew up in Mamelodi Sundowns, and for him to then stop his former team from beating them, that's South African football, and that's what I like about it. It's very unpredictable.
Yeah, we love it. Bro Jakes, always a pleasure chatting. Thank you for your time. Bro Jakes is letting us in on the season, the starter, the games in the Betway Prem. What do they look like? And like I said, I gazed into my crystal ball. When I walked out here on Friday, I was like, da. Do I even need to watch? And then when I go back and look, I'm just like, how did this happen? And I guess that is local football. If you think about it, if you take a look at the stands, you have fans that are colourful. Some might look at it and think it's not as polished as what it should be, but it is just simply out of this world. You'll have characters, you'll have placards with funny sayings, you'll have families that are in there, you'll have diehard fans who cry, the others are screaming as players go out, but it's never a dull moment. And I think it has a gees and identity like no other league in the whole wide world. And me, pretty much like Bro Jakes, very consumed by local football because I'm entrenched and work in it. And there's always you can taste, feel, see, smell it. And that is what makes it so exciting, apart from obviously all these results that we didn't even think was possible this season, but it is in full swing now. So if you take a look at the rest of the week, let me tell you what is going to happen, because where are we? tomorrow. We've got Gallants Pirates. It's at 7:30. We've got Orbit College Siwalele. That's going to be an interesting one. Mamelodi Sundowns travel to Amazulu. All of these matches are at 7:30. So we'll have a lot to talk about again on Wednesday morning. In a short while, Daniel Hirsch comes up as we talk about what happened. I guess it's the precursor, obviously, to their season. We're talking EPL Charity Shield. Crystal Palace are the champions.
Matsalani Mamabolo, South Africa's most successful soccer writer.
You Pirates fans were looking for Rulani to come. You guys are unrealistic. Rulani Mukwena Pirates.
3 times winner of Premiership Soccer Writer of the Year and 3 times winner of the Sports Writer of the Year. Every day he takes you inside SA Soccer, exclusive to omniaudio.africa. Weekdays, 9:30 a.m.
Break it down. Africa's premier sports destination.
All right, as promised, Daniel Hirsch joins me on the line. Daniel? Happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday. Happy Monday. Not so happy Monday.
Not for you, yeah, I see so. But I mean, tell me about how you're feeling today.
Yeah, look, I think it was, it is what it is. It's the Community Shield. I mean, precursor to the season. And I think if anything, we saw that we're a little bit, we're a little bit undercooked. I think Glasgow, firstly, Palace, well done to Palace. They're a good side. If they're able to keep their top 3 and they're able to keep their signings, their team intact, they're going to be a really difficult side to play this season. And I think it showed that, Glasgow, from what I understand, he's played all his friendlies this so far pre-season. He's played his best 11. And I think it showed from our side that we're still a side, even though we've got all these incredible signings, they're still trying to blend. And I think guys are, 1 week away from where they should be. And that's where it is. Next week, the real, come Friday, the real show begins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, with that said, as you said, it is obviously the precursor. And then come next week, that's the real deal. I want to know what is your take on Hugo's debut goal as well as his overall performance.
Listen, I think he's something very, very special. I think, look, we definitely, I feel that we're going to I think the Isak deal is going to be concluded this week. I think it has to be done. But I think more than that, I think, with Hugo Ekitike, and I think anyone who watched the Bundesliga, with him at Frankfurt, this boy has got, he almost glides. He reminds me of a certain Frenchman, I'm not going to mention names. That's almost glides across the field. He's got incredible pace. And I think we saw that little hook, the link-up play already between him and Wirtz. And Wirtz himself, he just looks like a Ballon d'Or in the making.
Wow.
He's something very, very special. But like I said earlier, they were undercooked a little bit. I think in the first half, we dominated. And if Hugo would have taken, he took his goal very, very well. I think his goal was outstanding. And it's important for him to get on the score sheet. But he had 2 or 3 other, chances in that first half. And if he would have put them away, you're 3-0 up or 3-1 up, and it's game over. Palace, they stayed in it. And they caught us. And I think Van Dijk had a poor game. He was responsible for both goals. I think Salah had a very quiet game. And I think also we were missing Gravenbach in the middle. And I think, the tough part is that as much as we can complain that we were, a couple bodies light, this is going to happen during the season. There's going to be injuries. There's going to be, so we are a little bit light on the defensive side. I think, the irony is that Gay was captaining Palace yesterday, and I think, we're kind of after him. We definitely need another centre-back. I think, after the tragedy also of losing Jota, that horrible tragedy of losing Diego, and Diaz leaving. Nunes, I think, is on his way out. We are, a body of two lights up front as well. I'm not going to read too much into it. They say that it's actually a bad omen to actually win the community, the community shield, charity shield, whatever they call it these days. So I'm not gonna read too much into it. I think if we really next week, like I say, next week's the real show, and I think there was a lot of good elements from Liverpool. I think also that everyone's got a mouth now because
yes, of course.
Haters are gonna hate. We are where we are. We favourites for the title again. Everyone's I think super jealous of all the signings that we've made. These incredible signings. I think Frimpong I think showed what he's capable of. He's got incredible pace. Kirkes, I don't think we actually have seen what he's about. We know what he was about at Bournemouth, but he's solid. He's an amazing little player. I think this season's going to be the Mo show as well. I think Florian Wirtz is just
correct. But I like what you said there, Daniel. You even said like Ballon d'Or type things. But the way Florian Wirtz then played, would you also say a lot in terms of his creativity? He kind of just said, "This is what you can expect from me this season." That's sort of what I take from that.
Yeah, absolutely. We saw. He had a couple of touches there that it just, it almost reminded me of, remember Neo in The Matrix? When he saw everything, he knew everything, like almost a step before everybody else. He's that kind of a player. He's something very, very special. I'm over the moon that we actually got him. And I think, if we bring in Isak, I don't know whether or not we get the Isak deal done before Friday. I'm not sure. Mm-hmm. But Isak, Ekitike. Look, I think if we're going to look at something that was a little bit stand out, is that with Cody on the left, he didn't play. I think the whole of last season he didn't play a full 90 minutes, and with Diaz gone now, he's almost expected to play, on that left-hand side. And I think he was a little bit found short to be almost a one-trick pony a little bit. Mm-hmm. He cuts in the inside, and it's readable. It's predictable a little bit. So, and Diaz, when we had Diaz, Diaz has that unpredictability.
Yeah.
He has that little bit of keeping the defenders on their feet. So, look, again, I'm not nervous about it. I think we're still favourites for the title. But it's going to be one hell of an incredible season. I'm super excited that Footy's back.
Yeah. With that said, also, you say you're racing towards Friday in terms of Isak and the signing there. Do you think, Liverpool should push harder, or is Hugo going to just be the main striker?
Look, I think worst case scenario, if we don't get Isak over the line and we got Hugo, there's nothing wrong. The boy's quality. But nobody's going to say that the best striker in the league, adding the best striker in the league in possibly the last 2 seasons, is gonna hurt your side at all. You know what I mean? If we bring in Isak, it's going to be deadly. We're going to have a deadly attack. But the problem is not going forward. I think everybody knows how deadly we are going forward. The problem is at the back a little bit. And I think, losing with Joe Gomez being injured again, unfortunately, he just can't stay fit, that boy. We're light. We're light at the back. We sold Kwanzaa to Leverkusen. We haven't replaced him. And if something should happen to either Ibu or Van Dijk, we've got trouble. We're looking at either Robinson or Endo filling in as a centre back, and that's just not good enough if you want to defend the title. But I've got full faith in FSG. They haven't put a foot wrong since they've arrived, and if any, you got to trust them that they know what they're doing, because they when it comes to running a football club, there's no one better.
Yeah, you spoke about Salah being very quiet. I'm a little concerned about that.
Yeah, he was quiet, and I think look, the penalty, also missing the penalty. How many times have we seen Salah step up to the penalty spot and put it away? And never mind McAllister as well. But these things happen, and rather in the community shield, rather have a bad game or a quiet game than when it really, really matters. Salah is what Salah is. We all know he's something special. But having said that, there's all. So we have to be prepared that we're going to be without Salah for quite a bit of the season. And that being said, I think where it's maybe last season we were very heavily reliant on Salah. I think now with Florian and Hugo and even the signings that were there, I think Szoboszlai's up for a big season. We're not necessarily that reliant on him, and I think Frimpong, we haven't even seen yet the talent of this boy. I'm so heavy on big on Frimpong because he's basically a right winger anyways. So when Salah does go to AFCON, I think he will be able to step up there and fulfill that role nicely. I feel bad for Elliot though. I think Elliot, he's a quality player, but he's just not going to get a run. I think we're going to see him leave as well.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of we're not ripe. If we look at it almost like a fruit, we're not ripe yet. Hopefully next week we will be ripe.
But I mean, you've got to be ripe for Bournemouth come Friday the 15th, right? Because isn't Bournemouth the first game?
Bournemouth Friday night, and wow, all in all, what a weekend of sport we have ahead for ourselves. I mean, we've got the Premier League starting, we've got the UFC with Drickers, and then we've got the rugby as well. I mean, I'm not going to be off my couch for the entire weekend.
And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But as you said, precursor to the season. I mean,
it's not a bad thing for me, for our marriage and all of that stuff. It's not the greatest thing in the world. But, the wives have got to understand.
I don't know how you're going to balance that, but there's got to be a balancing act between Drickers, Springboks, as well as football.
Yeah, well, listen, that's why in the off season I've just been super dad. You know what I mean? I've done exactly everything that I can. I've earned myself as much credit as possible, and this is when you cash in. You cash in and you say, babe, remember all that time that I changed the nappies and I did the midnight feeds. Well, this is when I'm cashing in.
Yeah, I guess it's your time now on the couch with the remote come this weekend. But Daniel, if it is that you had to put a head on the block, because you said undercooked, right? We spoke about Hugo, we spoke about Frimpong, a signing for Isak that has to happen. Wirtz as well, just the creativity that he brings obviously to the team, and I think he also just a showcase of, hey, look at me and what I bring. Put your head on the block for Friday night. What do you see happening?
Look, I think Bournemouth, Salah will carry on scoring. He'll do what he does. He'll score in the opener. He'll continue to extend the record. I think he's scoring the most. I think he's got the record for scoring in the opening game of the season, cumulatively. I think it'll be 6 years or 7 years now in a row. We'll beat Bournemouth. We'll get out of the blocks. Then we've got a couple of tough fixtures. We've got Newcastle, and then I think we've got it's Arsenal. Well, who's our third game? Third game of the season, I think, is Arsenal.
Let me check.
If I'm not mistaken, let's just take a look now. Liverpool matches. Yeah, so we've got Newcastle, we've got Bournemouth, Newcastle, and then Arsenal. So it's not the easiest opening fixtures, but I think if we'll put down a marker against Bournemouth, give them a little bit of a hiding, and everyone must fear the Arne Slot train.
All right, Daniel, thank you so much.
Thank you, Ron. Have a good one.
You too. Thank you so much, Daniel Hirsch. Letting us in. Cheerio. Chat to you very soon. He says he's done enough. everything. He's been super dad in the off-season because the season starts on Friday. Bournemouth there, he says, that Liverpool are definitely going to win, and according to him, are still going to be contenders to beat this season. Aston Villa playing Newcastle, Brighton, Fulham, Sunderland, West Ham. That's on Saturday. Tottenham, Burnley, Wolves, Man City, Chelsea, Crystal Palace. I mean, off of that win, I think they're going to be really, amped. Nottingham Forest, Brentford, Man United, Arsenal. So, and Monday, these are all the games leading up to Monday. It's Leeds United and Everton. So he is on the couch because it is going to be a jam-packed weekend if you take a look at it, because yes, there is UFC and Dricus is in action. It is the Boks that are in action up against the Aussies, and obviously it is the start of the EPL with the local league already in full swing. We also have to talk about Bafana. I don't know why, for some odd reason, Brad Jakes' words to me for Durban City and Coach Gavin keep ringing in my head, because there's just so much weight in what he said, with Coach Gavin and Durban City and the type of players that he chose. I think, what was the words that he used there? Basically saying these are, players that are washed out, shouldn't be here. But I also know that a Coach Gavin is very strategic in how he plays, who he plays, and who he believes in at the end of the day. That I'm not surprised that a Durban City come out with 2 goals at the end of it, because I think if anybody can cement a culture, and if anybody can get into the minds of players to make them believe that they are not washed out, and that just because of age, their talent has not disappeared, they still have what it takes, and then they go ahead and they prove that. Watch Durban City, because you cannot take away from Coach Gavin his experience, firstly, what it is he's been able to do as a coach in the local league as well. And I'm talking about this why? Because I have a Bafana Chan team that is in the back of my mind as well, with the coach Molefi Nseki. And a lot of the players where many are saying, oh, these are clubless players without homes that have formed this team, and waiting, raising their hands to kind of say, look, please play me. Or, football really, for me, it's so bittersweet, because you can see the best player who has scored in derbies, and possibly a player who has the highest earner in the league as it goes in a Chan team, and still has his hand up to say, I'm still here for the taking. I have not, I don't have, it's not yet time for me to part with this game that I love so much. And so I just juxtapose these teams, up against each other in my mind now, because South Africa today are up against Guinea. They play Niger, and then they play Uganda as well. So it is today Guinea, then Niger on Friday, and then Uganda on Monday the 18th. That is at 7. So this is Chan, the African Nations Championship, currently happening. It is Uganda and Kenya, I think, as well as Tanzania, if I'm not mistaken, who happen to be the hosts. But let's hear from them now, because Coach Molefi Nseki did play in the interview where he has come out and obviously spoken alongside the players, and just giving us an in as to how the tournament is currently going. Here they are.
Official pre-match press conference of South Africa versus Guinea. My name is Ahmed Hussein, the CAF media officer from Uganda. Members of the media, in particular the photographers, we could give you about 1 or 2 to take the photos you need before starting official press conference. Thank you.
To come out and show what we are made of, and we are looking forward to a very improved performance from the last game. As of now, we are placed number 4 in the group, because we only have 1 point. So we are fully aware that we can't be at the bottom of the group. We have to dig deep in the next match you're going to play. And also looking forward to the third game and to the fourth game, which will be the last game of the group stages. So all the teams have got 3 points, 4 points. We are at 1 point, and Niger is at 0 points. So I think the pressure is on us to play a good game, a good performance. Hopefully good performance will give us good results. And it is the belief we have in the camp to give a good performance all the time. We are on the pitch, or all the time we are preparing our team. So I think it will be a highly tactical game. We have seen Guinea playing the last 2 matches, winning the first game, and also losing against the host Uganda in the last match. As much as we are looking at the number of goals that were scored, but when you look at the balance of play, I think they gave a very good account of themselves, and Uganda on the day managed to score goals. So I think we'll be going into this game fully aware that they are a very offensive team. They've got some very good individual players that can hurt you anytime given a chance. So we'll always give respect to the team and also zoom into those individuals in terms of how we want to play offensively, how we want to play defensively. And the other thing that we have seen of Guinea, they have got very good hitters of the ball. So set plays is also a concern for us when it comes to the moments of the game. That will always determine the results of the game. So transition-wise, they've got a very good number 7, number 10 playing in the middle field, and a very solid centre back in the number 23 and number 5. So like I'm saying, it's a good team, but we are also ready, and we came into this tournament with one objective, one mandate, to do well in this tournament.
And the player Keegan Dolly, you're one of the troops on the team. How important is this game for you ahead of tomorrow's fixture? Okay, allow me to introduce the head coach of South Africa, Mr. Molefe, and the player with us here who will be talking to the members of the media is Dolly, who will be getting the chance also to address you. Start with the head coach, Molefe. How important is this match for South Africa against Guinea tomorrow?
Good morning, members of the media, and thanks for having us. I think it's a second chance that is given to us. We played the first game, of which we looked at it as an icebreaker. So we have managed to break the ice, and the performance also talks to the results that we got against a solid Algerian team. So we are obviously looking forward to the next game. So like we said at the beginning, we are taking each game as it comes, because we are fully aware that it's a very tough group with teams that are well prepared. So we give respect to every team that is in our group. So our preparation is not different from the first game. We are giving Guinea the respect they deserve. For them to be in this tournament is because of the good performances that they had to give out during the qualifiers. So for that, I think it's another opportunity for our players, for all of us, to come out and show what we are made of. And we are looking forward to a very improved performance from the last game. As of now, we are placed number 4 in the group, because we only have 1 point. So we are fully aware that we can't be at the bottom of the group. We have to dig deep in the next match you're going to play. and also looking forward to the third game and to the fourth game, which will be the last game of the group stages. So all the teams have got 3 points, 4 points. We are at 1 point, and Niger is at 0 points. So I think the pressure is on us to play a good game, a good performance. Hopefully, good performance will give us good results.
And good luck there to Bafana, who are up against Guinea today. That is at 4 p.m. and that is in Chan. They then take on Friday, Niger, and then Uganda on Monday the 18th. And that's a wrap of Not the Sports News, the Monday edition. We are back again tomorrow. Until then, cheerio.
Not the Sports News is Romy Titus and her guests covering the world of sport from football to athletics, cricket, rugby, UFC, and Dambe wrestling. Live weekdays on omniaudio.africa, 8:30 a.m. Central African Time. Romy Titus is South Africa's leading face and voice on all the sports stories you want to hear about and talk about. Also live on TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook at Omni Audio Africa.